I don't think you could say that Marvel ruined cinema. I think they carved their own lane, and they did things in cinema that people have never even dreamed of. I mean, we were talking about a cinematic universe with over 30-something movies that all tie into, not saying they're all great, dude, they created a cinematic universe that has been the most successful movie franchise of all time. So it's hard to say. It'd be like saying the Yankees ruined baseball, you know? They won all those championships, they ruined it. I don't know, dude. People were watching. All right. Welcome to Only Comics. I'm Mike, and this is Adrian. Oh, wait, no, that's not Adrian. Dude, you're not here. Oh, there you are.
Baby. I'm cruising the multiverse.
Holy shit, you are, dude. But hey, you still carved out the time, dude, to come here on Only Comics and talk to all of our fans. So I appreciate you doing that. How we doing, dude?
I'm burning up. I'm apparently talking to Mephisto or somebody because it's like 100 degrees down here.
Yeah, no, screw that, dude. It's a nice, cozy, about 75 degrees up here. And you're missing a great New England day, Adrian. So,
wow.
Anyway, well, we're going to get into some Only Comics, too. A little different. Like I said, Adrian's traveling the multiverse, but we will hold it down for you guys today. I got a lot of comic news and rumors. Also, Adrian, one thing you missed out when you were traveling was the Terrificon right here in Connecticut, dude. I went, had a blast. So I saw actually some of our followers. One guy called me the true or false guy. He's like, "You're the true or false guy." So I was like, "Well, close, dude. Agree to disagree. We do that."
Right.
So I did want to show you guys a little clip. I met a real life superhero, Adrian.
Nice.
His name was Mr. Terrificon, believe it or not. So he looked like a Superman wannabe, so no offense. But he was nice enough to do a little content. So I asked him his thoughts on Caped Crusader, and this is what he said.
I'm Captain Terrificon.
Captain Terrificon. Well, nice to meet you, and thanks for being on Only Comics. Have you seen Caped Crusader yet?
I have, yes.
Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice modern retelling of some of the old classics that we were able to see back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I fell asleep on the last episode and for some reason woke up watching a Tom Cruise movie, but that happens. So
that happens to the best of us.
It does. I like what he said about it. Pretty much, he talked about how it retold some old stories. I've finished Caped Crusader. I know you're not done with it yet, so we'll wait a week before we dig into that. But I will say it was an enjoy. I enjoyed the series, but if I had to give it a number, and hope this doesn't sway you from finishing, Adrian, I'd give it a nice solid 7, dude. It was above average, but, for Batman, and part of it is like, for Batman, dude, I expect a lot, right? I mean, I remember when we first talked about it, you're like, dude, I'll give it a watch because it's Batman. It's like, but when you're doing Batman shit, it's got to be at a certain level, you know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
So we're going to jump into some comic news, dude. There a lot going on. Secret Wars, a movie we talked about a bunch. This is, I think I said to you, I don't know if it was on show or offline, but with Deadpool and Wolverine, I feel like they tested a template for Secret Wars, right? They're in the Void, Battle World, very similar, right? There's a lot of cameos from characters that we haven't seen that have been killed off. Did you get that sense at all with Deadpool and Wolverine that it was kind of a test for what's to come?
I did, and of course, once they do these tests, like the Matrix was a test, right? And then everything that follows has some of that kind of content in it, almost like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was a test. And now when you look at animation and comics, matter of fact, the movie even set it up to where you don't even look at comic book movies or animation separate from real movies anymore. Right. So it's not only a test, but probably a template for movies moving forward.
Well, it sounds like, based off of this rumor, Adrian, that is what is happening. So the rumor report, one of these insiders reported that Marvel Studios has enlisted 5 legacy actors for Avengers Secret War. And here's the 5, dude. So Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man's 1.
Cool.
Chris Evans, as they have him as Cap or Human Torch, because now you never know with him, right? Hey, is he going to say Avengers Assemble or Flame On? Who the hell knows?
Right.
Your boy, Adrian, I think you're going to love this. Nick Cage, but not as Superman, because that's DC, as Ghost Rider, okay?
Okay.
Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Okay.
and then Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. They're all rumored to be locked in to Secret Wars. Now, this is just a rumor, but dude, if you look at our track record, there's a lot of rumors we reported that came true. You know, we reported a rumor about Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doom, and sure as shit, here he is. A lot of the cameos that we saw in Deadpool Wolverine. So we're not taking credit for, digging up the dirt, but we're just bringing it to you. So if this is true, Adrian, Tobey, Chris, Nick, Wesley, I'm yelling names like I know them. Scarlett, right? The crew,
right?
If they're back, are you cool with that? You like that?
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, except for Scarlett, right?
Yep.
Black Widow. I mean, did she like take a dive off the cliff or something? So in the same sense, you can't really bring Tony Stark back. How are you going to bring Black Widow back?
What if it's a variant though? Variant from another timeline.
That works.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done such a good job on twisting these things and these different plots that it makes sense regardless of what they do. I think they are aware that they just can't bring Tony back or bring Scarlet Witch back. So they bring them back in a way that makes sense, and I'm cool with that.
Right. Yeah, I'd be down with that, dude. And it's not like it's going to be for the next, 5-10 movies. If it's a one-off, kind of like we thought some of these cameos in Deadpool Wolverine were going to be, but now it seems like we'll see these, a little bit further on. But it's not, I mean, Wesley Snipes ain't going to be playing Blade until he's 80. Like, dude's probably got 1 or 2 more appearances in him. So yeah, I'm cool with it for this. And it's, and I agree. I do think Deadpool and Wolverine will be somewhat of a template moving forward because it's like they find a formula that works and then they repeat it a little bit. Which, hey, if it's working, dude, keep doing it. But that's not what everybody thinks, Adrian. So there's an actor, Brian Cox. So he played William Stryker in X2. You remember that movie? He's the one they attacked the mansion. I thought he did a great job. He was a real, almost sinister, if you will. See how I did that? Sure. Sinister, Mr. Sinister. He was. I got over-explained too. Mr. Sinister is an X-Men comic villain. So there you go. But Brian Cox played a great Stryker, and he's in this show Succession. I've never seen it. I don't know if you have. No. But so, anyways, they're interviewing him, and he had some. I don't even know if this is a backhanded compliment. Let's say not so nice things to say about Marvel and what it did to cinema. So what he said was, I think cinema is in a very bad way. I think it's lost its place. Partly the grandiose element between Marvel, DC, and all of that is beginning to implode. You're kind of losing the plot. He ended up talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. He said that they're making a lot of money and everybody will be happy, but in terms of work, it's diluted afterwards. You're getting the same. We've all done I've done those projects. Deadpool meets a guy, blah, blah, blah. He goes on to basically say that the Deadpool Wolverine movie, not just that, but he did single them out. But the Marvel, I guess, the MCU, if you will, has essentially screwed up cinema because now it's all about having fun and, he feels like maybe there's not a place for the movies he wants to make. What do you think about that?
Well, I can't picture the guy. I think I know who you're talking about, which means that he means nothing to me.
Okay.
With that being said, you could have said the same thing about Star Wars and look at, 500 years later and a million spinoffs. Why didn't Star Wars dilute cinema?
Right.
Why didn't, these TV series that are going on for decades, why didn't they dilute cinema? So it's your opinion. Oh, that guy.
Yep.
Okay. He's okay. But you can say because I think he's an old school actor and he probably can't figure out where he fits into this new universe.
Right.
So he's probably feeling some kind of way about it, like butthurt.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been plenty of movies and series or genres that have potentially diluted cinema, and no one's talking about those, or they were talking about them and they got over it.
Yeah, that too. I would even say that it looks like he's playing the blame game, and I think there's this mentality maybe in Hollywood right now where, because he's not the only one. There's been big name directors that call the Marvel movies the movie equivalent to an amusement park, right? They don't take them serious. They're not as artsy and whatnot. But just because they're succeeding, that doesn't prevent you from making the movies you want to make. If you make good movies, they will do well in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
You're not going to do but I also don't think that these artsy, these the as they would say, real cinema type movies, they're typically not blockbuster movies. They're not going to hit $1 billion. This is a different genre of movie. So if this genre is doing better than your genre, is it that they destroyed cinema, or is it you just haven't been making good movies? Like at what point is it their fault? You know what I mean?
Right. If the Marvel movies or the comic book movies are shit, first of all, you're gonna see it here first on Only Comics.
Absolutely. Obviously.
But if they're great, then they're great. And Deadpool and Wolverine just happen to be great.
Right.
Madam Web, not so much.
No.
Morbius, all those other, not so much. There have been great regular movies. The Green Mile. There have been not so great other movies.
Correct.
So I again, if you're butthurt about something that's happening that you're not a part of, or you can't see how you fit into it, that doesn't make it a bad thing. It's just not a fit for you.
Right. Dude, if you're better at something than I am, it's not I can't say that you're the reason why I'm not having success.
Exactly.
And that you're going, well, because of Marvel's success, we can't have this. No, just make a good movie, dude. Then Oppenheimer, I'm probably saying it wrong. Oppenheimer, dude, did big numbers, won a ton of awards. Robert Downey Jr. won an Oscar for it. That wasn't a comic book, right? That was a big movie. They made a good movie that people went, and in all types of, we talked about the Barbie movie here before. That ain't a comic book movie. Dude, that was a big movie. It actually was critically acclaimed. I saw it was way better than I thought, you could even possibly make a Barbie movie, but people went out to see it. That's not a Marvel movie. So it's like if you make good shit, people will show up.
Absolutely.
So this ain't agree to disagree, so this is maybe a little preview of later, but I don't think you could say that Marvel ruined cinema. I think they carved their own lane, and they did things in cinema that people have never even dreamed of. I mean, we were talking about a cinematic universe with over 30-something movies that all tie into, not saying they're all great, dude, they created a cinematic universe that has been the most successful movie franchise of all time. So it's hard to say. It'd be like saying the Yankees ruined baseball. They won all those championships, they ruined it. I don't know, dude. People were watching.
Right.
Anyway, something that didn't ruin cinema, we're talking about Deadpool Wolverine. And, that opening scene with NSYNC playing, the Wolverine skeleton, the adamantium laced skeleton, Deadpool's wiping out the TVA to a backdrop of NSYNC, right? I don't know about you, but part of me wondered, the people that worked on Logan, how did they view that? I would assume, they probably got a kick out of it, and they probably fall under the same, category as us, where we talked about how that does not devalue Logan at all. It's an entertaining moment, right?
Right.
So not that you asked, Adrian, but I feel like maybe you were wondering. Michael Green, he was a co-writer on Logan, and they asked him about this scene, if he took any offense to it or whatever. He said people warned him ahead of time, and I think, they were prepping him like, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. But he says it felt less like they were trying to change the ending of Logan as they were contending with the feeling that they wanted to make a movie as good as they felt Logan was, which was a huge compliment. It felt like it was nothing but complimentary, which I mean, dude, I agree 100%. They made a joke out of it. But again, it doesn't undo anything, and it was done in the opening credits too. So it's kind of like, did this even really happen? It was just a joke done for the movie to pay homage. So I agree with what he's saying. Is that how you kind of felt?
I do, and this is like a cop, right? They're on the street, they pull you over, they're doing their job.
Yeah.
But then you got a cop that pulls you over and why are you speeding on my highway?
Right.
It's not your highway, dude. It's not his move. This guy, he may have produced it or wrote it or whatever, but Logan, he doesn't own Logan.
Correct.
They hired him to do something about a fictional thing. Yeah, you could have some kind of feeling about it. And I think that what he expressed was pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I just think it's these people that go out and they try to piss people off. They try to dig and get in on your nerves and just pull something out of you because for them, that's entertainment.
Right.
You know, our entertainment is good movies. Their entertainment is, you know, trying to get you to trip up on yourself. And I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as his comment,
yeah,
great.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, dude. I think you put it well, and I think it shows like he understood it. You know, I think if anyone takes offense, and I think this is kind of true in life, if you take offense to things, 9 times out of 10, you misunderstood the context or you know the intent behind it. A lot of times, I mean, hey, you know, it's the beauty about, you know, America. You can choose to be offended at whatever you want. Some people are offended at our show, Adrian. Would you believe that?
Right. Hey, imagine.
Yeah. Imagine that. All right, moving on. James Gunn. So James Gunn's in the news. So a little DC stuff this week. You know, one of the things that you hear a lot with comic book movies, action movies, but I think a lot in comic movies are reshoots, right? How many times, Adrian, have you heard this movie, you know, got pushed back? They're doing reshoot. We just talked about Venom 3 doing some reshoots in New York City. I mean, even Deadpool Wolverine, there was a period of time where they did some reshoots. So, you know, in a nutshell, the movie is about done, and then director, someone makes a call and feels like, hey, we don't have this at the point where I want it yet to actually complete. It's missing something, so they end up reshooting some scenes, maybe changing the tone of some scenes, maybe adding some stuff in that, you know, wasn't in the plot prior to, right? James Gunn has a reputation for not requiring much reshooting, so he just wrapped on Superman Legacy, and he says that there will be no reshooting. He says that in total of all his films, he's done about 1 day of reshoots, and he has a little strategy for this, Adrian. So he talked about now. First of all, before I get into that, the reshoots, they could improve something, right? Like we saw early, or not saw, but we heard a lot of early info and leaks from that Captain America: Brave New World. You know, your boy Falcon America, and in the beginning we weren't really high on it. And they did undergo a lot of reshoots. So we reported that. He talked about a lot of extra money going towards these reshoots. And I don't know about you, but the past few trailers, I keep seeing clips of Red Hulk. I hear rumors about, you know, the angry Green Hulk returning to fight Red Hulk. What I see so far looks pretty cool. So in that, if that movie does well, maybe the reshoots were a good thing, right? But James Gunn, he tweeted this out this past week. So because somebody asked him, what's your method for not doing a lot of reshoots? Number 1, over-prepare. Number 2, don't start shooting until I have a finished script my whole team is happy with. 3, hire actors and department heads I know can do their job. 4, surround myself with people, this is a good one, who will challenge me and not just say, yes, sir, everything. Dude, how many movies you think were made where there's people around that knew it was a shit show, Madam Web, and was afraid to maybe go, hey, dude, this sucks, right? Because you may surround yourself with people that just, yes, Captain. We're clearly not
many.
No.
You got Madam Web, Morbius. You know, there's been a few.
Right.
What's the dude? Venom.
Yep.
You know, we got three times where, you know, people hang around him, not tell him no, or whoever the director was. So it happens a lot.
Absolutely. So James Gunn's recipe is to surround yourself with people that will challenge you and not just say yes, sir. 5, ask myself daily, are there any small imperfections in the script that we're shooting? And he goes on, and number 6 is number 1 and 2 again, which was over-prepare and don't start, basically until you have your complete script that everyone's happy. I mean, that's the other thing, and that's where I think, you know, the quantity over quality screws things up, because if you're rushing movies out, you don't have time to go, hey, dude, I'm not really feeling the script. We need to rewrite it. What happens then is they just start filming and changing shit as they go, you know? So it's now it's a big talk. I guess we'll find out if that recipe actually, you know, works with Superman Legacy. But all in all, I think James Gunn's comic book movies, I mean, the Guardian Galaxy trilogy, they were great. I didn't really like his Suicide Squad, but I don't think that was I didn't like anything about it. It wasn't just the director aspect, but all right, moving. Go ahead.
Well, another director has that same philosophy. about not reshooting, not about surrounding yourself with a team.
Who's that?
But
Andy
and that's,
Muschietti?
Zack Snyder.
Okay.
He doesn't reshoot. He just makes 10 different versions of his movie.
Yeah. I didn't know where you were going with, dude. You went around here and came back, dude. You're on it, dude. Even though you're traveling through the multiverse. Holy shit. That is no, that's a good one. Yeah, black and white, dude. But once they come up with a new filter, he's gonna do that one too. You used to do like a sepia, that almost like reddish tone. That's gonna be next. You watch.
He's gonna make a Across the Spider-Verse version
of the Snyderverse.
Right.
All right. Do more Deadpool Wolverine. So Deadpool Wolverine crossed 1 billion this past week, and now it has also passed Joker as the number 1 highest grossing rated R movie of all time. So, dude, massive. Joker, that the Joaquin Phoenix one, who it was all right. It wasn't a bad movie. It was a good movie, but it was a depressing movie. And it's not something that was enjoyable to watch over and over again, It also, I didn't like how connected, but not it was to Batman Bruce Wayne. It falls under those Sony Spider-Man movies where if I see Joker, I need to see Batman,
Right.
But
that movie made over 1 billion?
Yeah, dude. Yep, that movie was just over 1 billion. Yep. But now Deadpool Wolverine is a new king in town, dude. So highest rated. I mean, that's awesome, dude, in this. And it kind of just to not to beat up on Brian Cox, but the theme of this week is I have a segment later where we're really gonna talk about kind of the dawn of the MCU. But I think it just drives that point home that I don't know how you say something ruined cinema when this movie did 1 billion first, big or maybe second biggest movie this year. The other being Inside Out 2, which is not a comic book movie. It's a kids Pixar Disney movie that has a lot of adult lessons in it. So yeah, I don't see how you can say cinema's been ruined. Dr. Doom, Adrian. We've heard a lot about Robert Downey Jr., or as the fans call him, RDJ. They're actually chanting that when he was on stage, with the whole mask. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
So the rumor about his version of Tony Stark, his version of Dr. Doom, is that Victor Von Doom is going to come from the same universe as the Fantastic Four in the MCU. So that's a movie, the Fantastic Four movie. There's a trailer that kind of leaked online, but I'm waiting to see the official one because I don't want to. Dude, you remember the days of bootleg movies?
Oh yeah.
Like you used to buy them at like barbershops and little bodegas and shit like that, depending on where you lived, right?
Trunk of cars.
Yep, and whoever had them, dude. So I do remember those days, Adrian. I don't live in those days anymore. I don't want to see bootleg footage. Like everyone has like an app. You watch this shit on your phone. I just wait till it comes out, dude. I'm too old, Adrian. Maybe it's a young kid's game. I'm too old to be watching shit that's not in HD, 4K. I can't be watching a little 480p on my phone. I don't know about you. But anyways, so I've not watched the trailer yet. But the rumor is this version of Victor Von Doom is going to stem from the same universe as the Fantastic Four. So I would imagine in that movie, when we see the Fantastic Four's origin, we will probably see some of Victor Von Doom's. I think that's cool because that way it gives us a movie to kind of learn about the universe where this guy comes from instead of just plopping a random villain out of nowhere like they did with the Thanos variant at the end of Endgame. Remember, it was just a guy, like he wasn't the same Thanos from Infinity War. So it was awesome, but it was just lacking that connection for me. You know what I mean? Right. And this will have, so I'm liking that, dude. You're a big Fantastic Four. How you feeling about this movie?
Well, the fact that it's going to be in the same universe as the Fantastic Four makes sense. Mm-hmm. Since they're going to be like cross-pollinating these things moving forward. The other thing that this other guy is not getting is that, movies are single entities. They're an island amongst themselves, right? The MCU, the DCU, they're making these movies not only one at a time, but they're making them linked together so that they're like this whole group of islands of movies, and they have to make sense. So that in and of itself is great. And I think that's what they're going to do with this Doom Fantastic Four thing, which makes it even better. So they're gonna pretty much wrap up the next 10 years with this stuff, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm here for it, dude.
Yeah.
This next piece of news, Adrian, I know you're here for. This is sometimes, we've been doing this show for a while. I think we know each other pretty well. Would you agree?
All right, I agree.
I think this one is gonna make your day. If you were, let's just say, I mean, you're doing some traveling. Traveling's not fun. Maybe you're having a somewhat shitty day. I don't know. We'll pretend. But I guarantee you, this piece of news is gonna bring you up, up to your normal self. So,
all right.
The Eternals is something we talk about a lot. Okay, I have called it the cure for insomnia. And actually, I asked a handful of people at Terrificon this past week, and a lot of people agreed with that. So, the Eternals, this is amazing news, so I will let you wait no longer. Marvel Studios confirmed to have scrapped all plans for the Eternals 2.
Nice.
Dude.
Man, I thought you was being facetious. I thought you were gonna say some shit like, hey, they're gonna bring out an Eternals 2 next year or something. I'm like, dude.
Nope. Dude,
nice.
Doesn't that just make your day, dude? Whatever happened, I mean, you're on a high now.
Right, that's the best news right there.
We could just stop the show right there, dude. Everyone's happy. No Eternals 2. So, the Penguin show, we've seen this trailer, a couple of them. HBO and Max are putting this show out. It ties right into the Matt Reeves Batman universe. They're calling it some crime saga. They have a dumbass name for it, but I guess they can't be perfect,
Sure.
The Batman universe, you see my boy, the best on-screen Batman ever, Robert Pattinson,
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
we go with that.
we all know Adrian doesn't agree with that one. But you know what? This is I said this before, it's an educational program here. It's not just a fun show.
Sure.
And we teach people that I'm not upset with Adrian and his opinion about Robert Pattinson. I know he's wrong. It's okay. I don't hold it against him. He feels I'm wrong. He doesn't hold it against me. So that's a lesson for you all. Don't take it so personal. Jesus. But in this universe, there's Ozzy, my man, the Penguin. Colin Farrell plays him, who you have confirmed he's a hit on Hit or Miss.
Yep.
His show is getting ready to drop September 19th. It drops on a Thursday, 9 p.m., and then after that week, every Sunday they'll drop a new episode. So if you remember, I said this kind of felt like had a little Sopranos vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I remember the days of, this was, don't get nervous, y'all that are watching. This was before you could had streaming. You had to watch shows when they were live, right? You had no on demand. A show came on. You had your little TV guide. Remember that? And you got ready and you had to wait. And if you were late, dude. You missed it. Anyways, Sopranos used to drop every Sunday night. So I remember watching that around 9 o'clock. So I just thought that was cool that they're getting that time slot. It means it's a big deal to HBO. They've been marketing the shit out of this. I also read somewhere that they're going to be releasing the Batman back in a few select theaters with some special preview to the Penguin at the end of the movie. So they're doing a lot with this. But this show starts on September 19th, a Thursday, 9 p.m., and then every Sunday following that, starting with Sunday the 29th of September, new episode of the Penguin. So, dude, I'm looking forward to this, man. How you feeling about the show?
Well, first of all, the Penguin was never like one of those characters that I'm like, I was excited to be.
Right.
Matter of fact, he was one of Batman's, main villains, right?
Yep.
But he was never really one of those characters that just, did anything for me. But seeing Colin Farrell play that role has given me a new perspective on him. Just like seeing like a Rogue in a different perspective, just like seeing Gambit in a different perspective. So I'm excited about seeing this. I would actually watch that.
Yeah.
So that I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I'm looking forward to that. Another rumor about Deadpool Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is rumored, well, not about Deadpool Wolverine, but a rumor about Hugh Jackman. The rumor is he will remain on as Wolverine in the MCU even after Secret Wars. Now, Secret Wars comes out in 2027. Now, I don't know if this is just a joke. I think that's a stretch, dude. I mean, I know Ryan Reynolds says he should play Wolverine until he's 90 in the movie as a joke. I think he's going to get to the point where he's going to age out. Like he looks great as Hugh Jackman, as Wolverine now, but this is 2024. Movie was filmed last year, 23. So you're talking after Secret Wars, 27, 8. 5 years from now, man's going to be in 60. I think Secret Wars, he should call it, hang up the claws, as they say. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, he'll end up looking like Wesley Snipes, in Deadpool. He'll have to wear glasses, put the sleeves back on. Yep. Just all kinds of stuff happening. So yeah, I'm not. But hey, you got Beetlejuice jumping out of a bat plane.
Yes, you do.
At Mach 2.
Right.
They can do anything.
Yes, absolutely. Well, when I was little, I always used to hear you could do anything if you put your mind to it, Adrian. So,
yep.
They're really proving that or driving that point home. Daredevil, dude. So actually, I didn't get to see my man, but Charlie Cox, who plays Matt Murdock in the series, was actually at Terrificon. But when I went on Friday, I didn't see him there.
Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
So it'd been cool to say what's up. But anyways,
he's kind of short anyway, so you could have just missed him.
That's true. That's why I said he was there. If you picked up on that. Daredevil Born Again, though, is a show that actually went through some reshoots. This is a show that was about done. And then someone got involved and was like, yo, this shit sucks, redo it. And they went out. I don't know if it was a script done or part of the filming, but they went through some reshoots early on, and they cut the show down to, I think, 10 episodes. And one of the things that, when Marvel was, when Disney bought Fox and Marvel, one thing that a lot of fans were, I guess, afraid for or thought Disney would do is make everything very PG, because that's Disney's history, right? Which to their, kudos to them, dude, they have not. We saw Deadpool Wolverine's nothing PG about that. And Daredevil is another character that is a little more gritty. Those Netflix shows, dudes, were pretty violent. So that's kind of been a question about Daredevil Born Again. Like, will it be just as violent as Daredevil? And my man Vinny D, Vinny D plays Kingpin.
Yep.
He says that the show goes much further with violence than the Netflix show. He even said there was one thing in particular that my character does that I can't believe made it into the cut. Dude, what could that be? We've seen Kingpin do some pretty nasty shit in Daredevil show. I think I remember one scene where he was smashing some dude's head with a car door. And even when he was young and he killed his dad, like, with was it the hammer or something? I got to revisit that show. But dude, this had, not that I wasn't already into this show, but I'm excited for this Daredevil show, and hearing this makes me even more excited. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. But wasn't that door beating thing in Echo?
Was it? It may have been. It may have been.
Yeah, but either way, his character did those things.
Right.
And so I'm cool with it, because that's the Daredevil that we're used to.
Right.
Speaking of Daredevil, and you talked about Marvel's going to be reprising like 5 characters. So Elektra is not coming back.
No.
Replace Elektra with Black Widow, basically.
According to that rumor, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Nope. She got her one and done.
It'd be cool to see Gardner come back in something other than a cameo.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, dude, she was good Elektra.
Capital One.
Hey, they got to get paid somehow, bro.
Hey, I guess.
Last piece of news. Are you a fan of the Terminator movie series?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
they got kind of silly at some point, but they all do. But
right. Yeah, they did. I've only seen I've seen the first 2. I love those. I love the second one. I've seen the third one, and then after that, I've seen bits and pieces, and they were kind of a mess. But James Cameron, who's responsible for the first 2, and I think he, may have been like a producer somewhat, but he wasn't as heavily involved with the later ones, to the best of my knowledge, as he was with the first 2. Anyway, he says he is working on a new secret a new secret Terminator project. So I think this is, I don't know, is this good news that he's back involved, or should this franchise just be, given the old Yeller treatment? Adrian, how do you feel?
One of my favorite movies of all time is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Miracle on 54th Street.
34th?
I think it is. Or 45th Street. One of those
34th.
Streets. That 34th. 34, 54.
One of those
45.
streets. Yeah.
One of my favorite, right? I don't even know the name of it. But anyway, what made that movie, iconic to me was that it was made once and that was it.
Yeah.
And I go back every year and I watch it. Yes, to answer your question, sometimes they need to, give movies the old yeller treatment and move along.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those times.
Yep.
Justice League was one of those movies too.
Yeah.
But instead they resurrected old Yeller as a cocker spaniel.
Oh my
Chihuahua, and
they just changed the color. It made her black and white.
Right.
Yeah. No. I think you're right, dude. Unfortunately, James Cameron is kind of too little, too late. You should have stepped in years ago and tried to fix this, maybe. But I'm good. Give me the first 2 Transformers movies, and I'm set for life, bro.
Right.
All right. We like to wrap up comic news and rumors with a little thumbs up, thumbs down. And I've said this before, Adrian. We don't have a lot of rules here on Only Comics, right? We're not that deep a lot of times. Like we're literally just gonna. I'll recap the title to these news segment or rumor, and we'll just let you know if right now we think it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. I could change next week. I could change by the end of the show.
Before you get into the wrap up,
Yep.
I got 2 bits that I kind of heard as I was traveling. Right?
Okay.
So one, Wesley Snipes did like an interview about reprising his role as Blade, and it's funny. It's like that hate thing between him and Ryan Reynolds isn't even real, according to him.
Okay.
It's just something that they've been playing off of for 20 years.
Oh shit.
And he said this whole thing started with a text. He got a text from Ryan and asked him if he wanted to reprise his role as Blade.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, I don't think you could, but hey, if you can make it happen, I'm in. And so that's how he got back into that.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
The second piece is that, have you seen the commercial for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I think they're going to come out. They got a series coming out, an animated series coming out on
Prime,
Paramount.
right? Or Paramount, yeah. I saw something. I saw the little thumbnail on Prime. I haven't seen the trailer yet, but the artwork looked very similar to the movie. Is this? Do you know if it's in part of that same universe or it's a separate story?
I'm not sure. I just saw but I don't think the artwork looks like the movie at all. I think it actually looks better.
Really?
It's more in line with the artwork that I like.
Okay.
But it looks pretty cool. So I might check that out too.
Oh shit. Yeah, I did see it on there. Yeah, well, look at you, dude. You go through the multiverse. You come back prepared, dude. You're locked and loaded today. All right. Well, let's do a little recap here. So we will just give this news or rumor headline a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Tobey Maguire, Chris Evans, Nicolas Cage, Wesley Snipes, Scarlett Johansson are all rumored to be locked in for Secret Wars. I'm giving that a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I agree.
Brian Cox, Stryker, says Deadpool and Wolverine is proof that cinema is in a bad way. I'm giving us a thumbs down, dude. You're confused.
Yeah, thumbs down.
It's like, dude, go to bed, old man. It's past your bedtime, motherfucker. All right, Logan co-writer Michael Green says Deadpool and Wolverine opening pays homage to Logan. I agree. I give this a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
James Gunn says proper planning has allowed him to escape the reshoot that plagues most superhero movies, and Superman Legacy is done. No reshoots. I give this a thumbs up.
I agree. Thumbs up.
Deadpool and Wolverine tops the Joker and is now the highest grossing rated R movie of all time. Dude, 2 thumbs up. Makes me want to go see it for a 4th time.
I give it a thumbs up. Dude, I can't imagine Joker being $1 billion movie, but apparently it is.
Yeah,
it's not one of my dollars, but yeah, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, yep. No, so I'm happy it's finally it's got knocked down off its throne.
There you go.
Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom, rumored to be from the same universe as MCU's Fantastic Four. I give that a thumbs up for continuity, like you talk about all the time.
Absolutely, thumbs up.
Marvel has scrapped all plans for the Eternals 2. Dude, 2 thumbs up. Dude, I'd be jumping up and down if I didn't have the headset on. Dude, that's amazing news.
Right. I agree. Thumbs up. I wonder what is behind them making that decision. Is it fans, or they just realized it was a shit movie?
It's us.
Or
They listened. They finally listened. They heard us screaming about it, dude. So we have a lot of influence on the industry, Adrian.
Got it.
The Penguin debuts on HBO Max, or HBO and Max, Thursday, September 19th. Giving this a thumbs up, dude. I'm ready for this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thumbs up.
Hugh Jackman rumored to be playing Wolverine until he's 90, or at least past Secret Wars. I give this a thumbs down, dude. As much as I love him, and I love this portrayal, I think Secret Wars is where it should end.
Yeah. Thumbs down on that. Again, instead of opening it up to the next Wolverine, they're gonna drag this carcass through for the next 15 years. I think it's kind of sad at this point.
Yeah, it's too much. Vinny D says Daredevil Born Again will go further with violence than the Netflix show did. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but I give that a thumbs up.
Further violence, huh?
Yeah.
I'm cool with what they got. I give that a thumbs up.
Okay.
You know what? I'm cool with it.
You're cool with it.
Either way, I'm good.
You know what it is, dude? That Eternals news has put you in such a good mood. I think you're going to agree with everything for the rest of the show. You're the best mood you've been in years, So that's how good that news is. Last piece of news. James Cameron says he's working on a new secret Terminator project. I'll give this a thumbs down. It's time to give that franchise the Old Yeller treatment.
Yep. Thumbs down. Okie doke.
Yep. Okie doke. You're out. You're fucking out. All right. It's a little Kenny Powers reference for those fans of Kenny Powers out there. Next up, Adrian, hit or miss cast. So this was a little bit, if you will, that I did with a handful of fans at Terrificon. So we're going to go to a clip of that real quick to show you how they did, in your spot. So I figured, dude, you were traveling the multiverse. Let me just go around and do hit or miss with other people. Let's test it out. So I'm going to show you what happened. Robert Pattinson as the Batman.
Miss.
Oh, my God. What would you say?
Miss.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? No more.
Oh, hit.
Oh, yeah. Hit.
I only see him as Edward.
Okay, a lot of people say that.
Hit.
Miss.
Channing Tatum is Gambit.
I gotta say miss because I like the other guy better.
Yeah, same. Taylor Kitsch?
Yes.
My man.
Hilarious. Love that.
After the third time, hit.
See, after the second time for me, it was a hit.
A little bit,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, I like him. So I like him. Yeah.
I like the guy. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Hit.
I don't know about for like a full series, or whatever, but hit for the movie.
It was hit for the cameo. Okay. Tom Hardy is Eddie Brock.
I don't think that was a miss, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
I think that's good. Yeah, I like that.
All right.
Hit.
Hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, god awful. The Cloud that played Galactus originally.
Miss.
Yeah, I think that's a miss.
Oh. Hit.
That was a hit? Okay. Hit. All right.
I'm here for it.
Okay. The Cloud that played Galactus. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Okay, we'll go with a miss then. And last but not least, since you're dressed as Storm, Halle Berry as Storm.
Oh, the best. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm also here for it.
Honestly, miss.
Well, I loved her in Catwoman, so.
You loved her in Catwoman?
Are you kidding? I love it. I
Oh,
love it. I
man.
love corny movies.
Oh, hit.
Oh, banger hit. Hit.
And what about Jennifer Gardner as Elektra?
I don't like it.
No?
Miss.
I say to cast me.
Miss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one.
Miss.
All right, last one, just because it's apropos.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Absolutely.
All right,
No,
my
no,
man.
to play him. Except me.
Except you.
Except me.
Well, that's if they need Captain Deadpool.
That's true. Captain
right.
Deadpool.
All right, dude. I think they did pretty good, dude. Now they weren't a professional like you, so I don't think you don't have to worry about coming back and someone else is in your chair because they weren't Adrian level. But I think they did pretty good, dude. How about you?
I don't know, man. I'm feeling like that show Ridiculousness.
Yep.
When West, whatever.
Chanel West Coast.
West Coast when she left to try to start her own thing, and then they start bringing in these fillers. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like that.
Okay.
Except I'm not actually out the door yet.
No. Well, I'll tell you what, dude, just like Ridiculousness, those fillers they can't hold the candle to, Chanel West Coast on the show. They can't laugh like her, so
Absolutely
I don't think you have anything to worry about, dude. But it was fun. So any of y'all that participate, appreciate y'all. Gave out some merch too. So anyone that did a segment got a nice Only Comics shirt. That now, if you weren't there, you didn't get one, but you can go to onlycomicsmerch.com and get yourself some merch right there and support the show. All right, hit or miss cast. This is where I give out. I don't give out. I bring up 5 casting choices from the past, right? And Adrian lets me know, in his opinion, if it's a hit or miss, okay? Last week I did this. I went on a little rant prior to, giving the names, and there's a few people in the comments like, dude, what kind of yapathon is this? Like, bro, you know what? It's my fucking yapathon. So if I want to yap, I'm going to yap, Adrian, right? It's how there's no rules here. But
hit that 30-second skip.
Yeah, that's the other thing was like, dude, you don't have to watch it. You could skip ahead, but anyways. And the funny thing is it was one of the most watched videos last week, so I don't know. But that all being said, let me stop my yapathon. I'm going to throw out these casting choices. You're going to let me know if it was a hit or a miss, in your opinion. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
Miss.
Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Miss.
Paul Giamatti as Rhino.
Miss.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Hit.
J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. In everybody's favorite movie, the Snyder Cut.
I'm gonna go with a miss on that one.
Okay, miss. All right, dude. You only one hit this week for you. So, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Dude, you do not like his Spider-Man at all, do you?
Not at all.
Funny is, I think we'll actually get to that later, but I think he's one of the better ones. And Emma Stone is Gwen Stacy. You didn't like her either?
Nah, not really. I didn't feel her role.
Okay. And now the reason why I added Paul Giamatti is always a method to my madness, Adrian, okay? Because you'd ask, what do these names have to do with what we're talking about this week? Paul Giamatti as Rhino. That was the mechanical suit Rhino in the post-credit scene, who Andrew Garfield Spider-Man even brings up in No Way Home, when they're comparing bad guys, and Tom Holland's like, dude, I fought aliens, and he's like, dude, I fought a guy in like a rhino suit, so they knew it was stupid to poke fun at it, right? But did you see the trailer for Kraven the Hunter this past week, where they have the real live-action looking rhino, like a guy who transforms into a rhino?
No.
Oh my God! So as you continue to travel through the multiverse, dude, check this out. And if you guys watch and have seen it, let me know what you think. But dude, the Rhino that we saw in this trailer, let's just say it got the Hulk treatment. Okay, it's
really?
It's done with
Nice.
CGI. It's a big, massive, creature. A guy transforms into Rhino. The face is not perfect. But honestly, over that travesty of a suit that we saw in the post-credit scene, this is night and day. And we see a nice little beginning of a fight between Rhino and Kraven. The more I see about this movie or from this movie, the more excited I am for that. So that was a theme this week, Adrian, if you were asking.
That's interesting that Rhino is going to be in a Kraven the Hunter movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen those two on the same pages at the same time, unless they're fighting Spider-Man.
Right.
So.
Hey, it makes sense though, right? I mean, Kraven's looking to hunt Beast, and so I'm interested to see how they tie that in. But the more I see about this Kraven movie, the more excited I am for it. Looks good. We're going to talk about critics versus audience next, Adrian. I renamed the segment. I used to call it What the Fuck Rotten Tomatoes, but I came up with, I think, a better name. It's critics versus audience. It's a little battle of the scores here. And I tried to find some where there was a massive disparity, and we're going to let you know if we agree with the critics or the audience, okay? So the first one is the original Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire. Critics gave it a 90. Audience gave it a 67.
Nah.
That's crazy.
Nah. I mean, maybe 90 is a stretch, but definitely not a 60 anything.
Yeah.
I go with like a 80, 85.
Okay. I would go with a 90, dude. I love this movie, and so I'm going to go critics on that one. sticking to the Spider-Man Tobey trilogy, third movie. This is, the worst of the trilogy. I don't think anyone disputes that. Spider-Man 3, critics gave it a 63, audience gave it a 51.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, was it 51 bad? Was it that bad? It has your favorite scene with, evil Peter walking down the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 60. It wasn't a 50.
Yeah, so you go with critics. 63. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't think it was a 51. Venom, original Venom, first one. Critics gave it a 30. Audience gave it an 80.
Ugh.
What kind of crack did the audience smoke before they watched that? 80?
Yeah, critics definitely on this one.
You'd go with the 30? It was that bad for you?
I wouldn't go with the 30, but
okay.
but the you got to choose the critics or the audience.
Okay, so they're closer.
For the critics.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give Venom like a 60 maybe.
Yeah.
All right. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I already know how you feel about Andrew Garfield. Critics gave it a 51. Audience gave it a 64.
I go with the audience.
I would too. I actually don't hate that movie as much as a lot of people. I thought the death of Gwen Stacy was done really proper. The problem for this movie or that franchise was it felt too similar to the Tobey Maguire, with the Harry Osborn story, which we already saw, and then so I just. It had some misses. I really liked the Peter-Gwen dynamic in that movie and that story with her dad. Because we always see MJ everywhere, so it was nice to see Gwen Stacy, which, you see in the comics.
Right.
I did like – so, yeah, I would definitely lean towards audience there. All right, the last one is the Spawn movie. Because you asked about Spawn last week, and Tom McFarlane did say, it's in the works, so we should see some news soon. The original Spawn movie, this is the one with that really shitty CGI cape. Now, the CGI has not aged well in that movie is an understatement, right? But critics gave it a 17 and audience gave it a 36, dude.
Wow.
I would agree with you.
Audience, man.
Yeah, I would definitely lean with the audience. They're the higher score, but dude, I actually like that movie. And I think there's a good fan base out there, or kind of like a cult following for that movie.
Sure.
So if you're a fan of that movie, let us know. I would put this movie. It's better than Venom, right? I mean, I'd give this movie probably a nice solid 65. It wasn't amazing, but anyways. Well, there you have it. Critics versus audience. I think, dude, of all these, the one that really shocked me was how low the Tobey Maguire first Spider-Man movie audience score was, 67.
That was surprising too.
Dude, that was a big movie. That was the first of the Spider-Man series. That was, I think, and the next segment, it's a good segue, I'm going to talk about is the MCU. And because I can't, how I say there's comment lawyers on TikTok? They go defend that Snyder's movie was the best I've ever seen in my life. They go to bat, dude. I'm gonna go to bat for the MCU. That's kind of my theme this week because when you take a step back, it's easy to critique. We critique it every week, right? It's not perfect, right. But I've said this before. When you take a step back and you look at what they created, as a whole, it's amazing. Stories that people like you and me grew up reading, characters that we grew up admiring, being inspired by, whatever, we've seen brought to life on screen. We've seen some amazing movies. We've seen some shitty ones. We've seen some in the middle. We've seen some fun moments. We've even had some eye sweat, Adrian. It's been, as a whole, it's great, right? So, again, I double, triple, whatever down on the fact that it hasn't destroyed cinema or, put cinema in a bad place. Right. But that first Spider-Man movie was a major catalyst for what I think the MCU is today, because that was the bridge, right? You had the X-Men series, which we talked about. They tried to copy, one of your favorite movies, The Matrix, with the whole black leather. It was the best they could have done at the time for like that was kind of the genesis, right? Those X-Men movies. But the Spider-Man movie, we saw real comic accurate suit. We saw, more of that colorful on-screen palette, and they did some really good things in those first couple movies. But I think if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have had the MCU, right? And I got a little story for you, Adrian. So I was going to break down how we even got here for my man. This is all for Brian Cox, my boy. So in 2005, Marvel Entertainment, they decided they wanted to produce their own films. So prior to that, they were licensing these characters out to other studios, right? Spider-Man, we talked about. Sony, who still has rights to those characters, unfortunately. The X-Men were leased out to 20th Century Fox. Blade as well, I believe. Hulk was leased out. Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Punisher, Elektra. Dude, when you look back, those are some big-name players.
Right.
That were leased to other studios. Marvel would co-produce these movies, but they made very little profit. The guys making the money were the movie studios, right? So in 2005, they decided that we don't want to do that anymore. We want to make our own movies. Kevin Feige, so we talk about him a lot, dude. I don't know about you, but for me, it felt like he just kind of came out of nowhere at one point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then I look back and he was either a co-producer, a producer, or executive producer of every Marvel film made during that time. So even though they were leased out, the X-Men, dude, he was involved in some way, shape, or form. Okay. Avi Arad is a name that you may hear associated with Sony. He was the head of Marvel Films at the time, and he was the one who decided to start Marvel Studios. This is a guy who owned the company Toy Biz. I don't know if you remember them back in the day, but Toy Biz made a lot of action figures. They had some licensing deals with Marvel. Eventually, he becomes the head of Marvel Films, and they form Marvel Studios. At the time, this was the first major independent film studio created since DreamWorks was founded in '94. So, dude, unpressed, like big shit. You got this comic book company, owns rights to all these characters. They lease them out to other studios to make pennies, and then they realize, oh shit, we have I think they saw the success, right? They saw what the X-Men did, what Spider-Man did, and went, dude, if they can do that, they don't understand the characters like we do. Watch what we can do, right? I think it inspired them. So they start their own movie studio. They partner with Paramount Studios to distribute the films. You still need someone to distribute them, but Marvel Studios was in charge of creating them. Kevin Feige is a self-professed fanboy. Okay, he said that, not me. He is kind of second in command to Avi, and he realizes that Marvel still has the rights to these Avengers characters. They can't use Spider-Man. They can't use the X-Men. They can't use Blade, but they have the Avengers. So he had this vision of a shared universe, just like Stan Lee created in the comics, on the screen. Okay. Marvel, they plan to release the individual films for their main characters first, and then have a nice crossover film, which they did with the Avengers. Financing wasn't easy because these movies are not, they're not cheap. We talk about budget a lot on these films. You're talking $50, $100 million films, sometimes $200-300 if it's, Endgame level. And they didn't have a track record. So it's not like they could just, hey, give us some money. So they basically, and Avi Arad felt like they but his name is what helped them secure the financial backing, because this is a guy who's CEO, sold, had a big toy company. So he used his influence. They got a 7-year revolving credit line from Merrill Lynch for just over $500,000, $525. That's what they used to make these first couple movies. Avi Arad resigned in 2006 because he doubted that strategy would work. So Kevin Feige had this great idea. He doubted it, but he still insisted that his reputation helped get the financing. Avi went on and he produced a lot of the Sony movies. So he created a company that then went on to produce the Sony superhero movies. So the Spider-Man movies we see are from his company.
Okay.
2007, Feige's named studio chief. Marvel gets their deal done with Paramount Pictures. They form a creative committee of 6 people familiar with comic book lore. Feige, who is the chief in charge, Marvel Studios co-president at the time, Luis D'Esposito. Marvel Comics president of publishing, Dan Buckley. Marvel Entertainment's chief creative officer, Joe Quesada. And comic book writer, Brian Bendis. And Marvel Entertainment's president, Alan Fine, who oversaw the committee. They all were fans of comics. That was a big deal. That's why they were put on this kind of advisory board, right? Okay. May of 2008, Iron Man is released. This movie does $585 million on a $130 million budget. So you heard they got, $500,000 and some change. A lot of that went towards this movie. They definitely made their money back, with the $585 at the box office. Iron Man became a household name at this time, dude. I remember going to see this movie for the first time and being blown away and just feeling like it was something different. You remember seeing this for the first time?
Oh, absolutely. That's my favorite Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
My favorite scenes is when, he was in the cave and he built the original, built the Mark I.
Right.
So, this should be an iconic Marvel or an iconic comic book movie.
Yeah. And it really, paved the way for the MCU and what was to come. Next, so that was May of 2008. June of 2008, The Incredible Hulk is released, the Edward Norton version. This movie does $265 on a $140 million budget, so not the screaming success that Iron Man was, but this is the beginning of a shared universe. We see Tony Stark show up at the end talking to Thunderbolt Ross, who was not Harrison Ford at the time. Proof that Marvel, you can recast actors when they die, T'Challa. But so
when they get old.
Yeah, or then when they get too old, you can just recast them. It's okay. It's comics. Where it's not real life. We're good. But I think this movie gets too much shit. Incredible Hulk. I like it more than probably the average person, but I would never say it's like, one of my favorites.
Sure.
And so that happens. December of 2009, Walt Disney purchases Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion. They just stroke a check, dude. Maybe Disney probably just paid them out of their pocket, right? They're like, dude, that's chump change. Here you go. Take it. So anyways, Marvel finished whatever films they were still planned to be released by Paramount Pictures, which were, I think, the first 2 Iron Man movies, and then the Hulk movie, I believe. Those were I think the rest of them were all under Disney. Do you remember hearing that? Like, I remember, just thinking, dude, that's a big deal for, Marvel's, a massive company in its own right, not so much on screen yet, but just, their history in comics. And then for Disney just to, because I think this was after they already they bought Star Wars. I remember this just thinking, dude, this is a big deal. I hope they don't screw it up, man. What about you?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. It was like, well, I don't remember the event because I was so excited about the movies. I didn't care about what it took to actually get the movies out on the screen.
Right.
But I thought Disney was going to mess it up too, because I've always thought, just like, make room for the new actors and actresses. And I never understood why Marvel just didn't start small like they did and just build their own brand, continue to build their own brand. Why did they have to turn it over to Disney?
Right.
So, but anyway, it is what it is. And they didn't pooch screw it like I thought they would.
No.
Because now we got the Daredevils and things like that.
Correct.
And in the number one movie in the universe, Daredevil and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right. You might be onto something there, dude. Daredevil and Wolverine. I'd be down with that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think Disney screwed up Marvel. I really don't. I think that I think Marvel or Disney is partly what helped get them as big as they are. Through their marketing, their funding, it's how we went from movies like, The Avengers to Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. So Disney money is a different type of money. So, and then Marvel Studios, they start contracting actors for multiple films. And this is why I say they did things that were unprecedented, right? Including signing Samuel L. Jackson at the time, a 9-film contract. Dude, that's insane.
Wow.
Having that much confidence in him, in themselves, in the fact that they'll be able to create movies that people want to see for that long, 9-film contract. And then, at the time they had the studio, all of their actors signed contracts for multiple films. At that point, it was normal to sign 3 or 4 contract 3 or 4 movie contracts for most of these guys. They were working on 9 to 12 movies at a time. Like, dude, they were just putting all kinds of shit together in the back end, which we then saw on screen. The MCU is a shared universe where all these movies are set, right? And the films since 2007, that's when they started production. In that time, Marvel Studios has produced and released 34 films. It's the highest grossing film franchise of all time. Over $30 billion at the global box office. Just
That's
ridiculous. It's insane. So there you go. That's a little. I'm calling this, Adrian, the genesis of the MCU. See that? It's the beginning, right? The dawn of the MCU. I do want to, in doing this research, I made me want to dig further into the creation of the first Iron Man movie. So I think maybe next week I'll go through that because there's an interesting story there, which was kind of the catalyst to this. But anyway, a lot of kind of what you said with the whole Deadpool Wolverine, there's a lot of things that kind of had to happen a certain way. But I do believe that you got to give a lot of credit to the X-Men movies. You got to give a lot of credit to the Spider-Man movies. In fact, the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire franchise is one of the franchises that Avi Arad really liked from those early movies, which helped him kind of, at least back this while he was still there. So the other thing that's kind of funny is when Avi was there, Feige was under him, right? Avi leaves, he resigns because he doesn't think this is going to work. He ends up moving over and working with Sony to produce, the Venom movie. So all that stuff we saw from Sony was under his umbrella. Kevin Feige stays and helps create this MCU. And, we've had this kind of talk recently of like, dude, the rights should go back to the MCU. Now, there would be no MCU if there wasn't Avi Arad funding or helping with the funding. But now he's on the Sony side making inferior movies, right? And Feige's kicking ass, and they use his capital to kind of get there. So it's just it's intriguing, as they say in Morbius. So, dude, anything? I mean, going through that, how's that make you feel about the MCU? And also, what are your thoughts on where the MCU is right now?
Well, based on what's happening, like you just summed up at the end. This guy going over for Sony, that was the better move.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't, then all this stuff probably wouldn't be as big or as popular, even with the funding, because you got the wrong person, driving the ship.
Right.
So clearly him going over to Sony was the best move for the MCU.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes, the person with the money, they don't always have the vision.
Correct.
And the person with the vision doesn't always have the wherewithal, to make all the steps happen.
Right.
So you gotta have different parts of it, and this is a perfect success story, or a business story. You got people. If sometimes you could be in your own way, get out the way, so that the child, if you're more interested in the child developing and growing, and the MCU is the child in this thing. If you're more interested in the child growing and maturing, you got to step out the way and let somebody else that knows how to parent grow and develop that thing. And don't be butthurt about it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm paying for it, but
exactly,
just leave it alone.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to sum it up, and it is, to me, that is what happened here. You had one guy in charge, right? Another guy reporting to him, but this guy is kind of boots to the ground. He's the one who's out there helping co-produce these movies that are, so it's like his formula is impressing this guy enough to go, hey, we should make our own movies. And then he kind of gets cold feet and like, no, I'm out. You guys do this. Then the guy who was here the whole time, Feige, steps in and he just runs with it, dude, knocks it out of the park. So yeah, it's really the perfect storm. And, like you've said this before about things, we're the ones that benefit because regardless of how you feel about certain movies, 34 movies, dude, since 2007. That's insane. That's a lot of output.
Yeah. And also, I mean, this is a great message for these underdogs, these people that are, below managers that won't let them shine, that's putting the lid on them. They're not going to be around forever.
Correct.
I ran into this cop in a of course, donut shop, right? And I called everybody chief from being in the Navy and stuff. If I don't know your name, I'll be, what's up, chief? He's like, oh, I wish I was a chief. And I wanted to stop in that moment and just say, listen, the current chief is not going to be there forever.
Right.
He's going to age out. But guess what's not going to happen? You're not going to be chief if you wait until he ages out or something happens to him, or he might decide to go fishing or open up a fucking bar in the Bahamas or something, right?
Right.
When he makes his move, if you start trying to prepare for it, then you just lost.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be always in the mindset of being prepared to do the things that you want to do and not wait until the moment arises, because that's when somebody else is going to come in.
Right.
So, always plan for what you want to do, because you never know what the person above you or the person that you think is stopping you is going to do. And then just slide on in there.
There you go. Well, we're going to slide back under your learning tree, Adrian, because that's where we just were for a few minutes. Hidden gem. What do we got going on this week?
Let's do it. So, with the Cape Crusader coming out, and over the last week, we were talking about, basically, supporting cast. And I forgot one.
Okay.
And I want to bring that hidden gem up today. And the person today is Barbara Gordon. Now, Barbara Gordon she's actually had 3 roles with Batman, but she's one of those characters that support Bruce as Barbara Gordon. She supported Batman as Batgirl, and then when she got shot, right, she supported Batman also as the Oracle. So
right.
Let's run through that. So Barbara Gordon, as we know, is the daughter of Jim Gordon, the commissioner for Gotham City. And she's around her father, and she decided that she's like a librarian type person, and she decided that she wanted to take on the mantle of some kind of bat persona. So she came up with this Batgirl costume. She made her own costume, just like most underdog heroes do. And so she started out in, like, unbeknownst to Bruce Wayne, unbeknownst to her father, Jim Gordon. Now, at some point, so she went out and did her crime fighting thing. But the thing about and she eventually became like part of the Bat family. Now, it's interesting how, so Batman already had Robin, right? So, and it was a Batman and a sidekick. But then Batgirl created the Bat family kind of, group. So she came in, and Batman, Bruce, he doesn't want anybody that he doesn't pick. So right. He was reluctant, to include her, but eventually he did. So she became part of the Bat family, but he didn't know who she was. Her father didn't know who she was. He eventually found out, but just let her do her own shit anyway. Right.
Right.
Now, here comes the Killing Joke, where the Joker shoots Barbara in the spine as Barbara, not even as Batgirl.
Right.
So she's out there doing all this crime fighting, doing all this stuff, and then she gets taken out by a stray bullet, right? In her civvies, which is crazy.
Yep.
So,
with her dad watching.
So that happened, but since she had went through all this training and all this other kind of stuff, so she didn't want to get that stuff up. So what she did was she continued with her education, right? So she became this Oracle. Now, it's interesting that, Batman had an Oracle, whereas Superman has a, they called it, actually, the relationship to Superman was, they had this thing called the Watchtower. It was more prominent in Smallville, the CBWB series.
Yeah.
But the blonde girl was who ended up in real life helping some guy do a bunch of crazy rapey stuff with people. But anyway.
Oh shit.
And so that show had the Watchtower. So she became Oracle's, basically a data and information broker.
Mm-hmm.
But she also helped Batman. She also formed a team. I forget what the group was, but it's basically a bunch of female vigilantes.
Birds of Prey?
Birds of Prey, yep. She formed that. And then she would send them out on missions and stuff like that. So now she's Barbara Gordon. She's Batgirl. Now paralyzed, she's Oracle. Now, at some point, probably 3 years into this Oracle thing, her father, Jim Gordon, of course, he's got connections, and this is why I don't understand why Bruce does the things that he does. But anyway, so Gordon get these connections, and he finds an experimental process which is part surgery, part computer chip.
Yeah.
They do some surgery. They pop a chip in her neck, and she's good to go now. So now she's back as Batgirl, and she's Oracle. Now, the problem with the chip operation kind of thing is that it's not 100% all the time. So she can sometimes have enough. She's back to normal. She can do her Batgirl stuff. Sometimes she's wheelchair bound. But anyway, now what I didn't realize is that this happened a long time ago. That she was not Batgirl, and she was doing this Oracle Batgirl dual role thing.
And that's convenient for the plot too, where they, her legs only work certain because they run out at certain times. So I just figured I'd, chime in with that.
Right. I mean, if you Bruce Wayne, you can, jump off the boat and pretend to be drunk and wake up and, and swim to China, go do some shit and come back.
Yep.
But if you're a librarian, well, you don't have those options.
Right. Not so much.
But what's interesting about her character is that, and the reason I bring her up as a supporting role for Batman is because Barbara, she understands that sometimes, you have to kill people in order to save people, but that's not her stance. She's not like the Huntress or the Black Canary. Those chicks are like just take you out.
Right.
But she's also not like the Batman who's always, even though he's beaten you, he doesn't want to kill you and he'll do everything to save your life. So she's one of those supporting people that not only is in Bruce Wayne and Batman's and Jim Gordon's universe, but she also influences Batman in how he structures, his crime fighting, because she's not exactly like him, but she'll drop a nugget on him, every once in a while to influence his decision. So in other words, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, Oracle, all the same person. Jim Gordon, who else? Alfred. These are all supporting cast that help build out the Batman Bruce Wayne that we understand today.
Right.
Now, what can she do? Now, since we brought this up, I'm so sick of hearing about genius level intellect.
Let me guess, she's a genius.
Oh yeah. So she's a genius. Matter of fact, they put her Bruce Wayne's or Batman's equal intellectually.
Yeah.
Not crime fighting and all this other kind of stuff, but intellectually they put her up there with Bruce Wayne. She also is supposed to have a photographic memory, right? So she remembers anything that she sees, which I'm assuming helps her with all this other stuff. And then, she has the training that allows her to be the Batgirl, black belt in, 1,700 different martial arts styles, things like that. So basically a normal person that's driven, that's determined to do all the things that she does. She didn't let the paralysis stop her. And she's definitely an influence in Batman's and Bruce Wayne's life. So that's the hidden gem. I just wanted to bring that up because I knew I was forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
And also on the outside, right? She is listed as one of the top 10 most intellectual comic book characters in comics, and of which she's the only female in that top 10.
Really?
Yep. And she became more popular as Oracle than she did as Batgirl. So her popularity has risen after the Oracle. That
doesn't surprise me. Dude, right. I was going to say, because I remember, playing the Arkham games, and Oracle is a huge part of those games. She's, the voice in your ear, and you're like, you're right. A more Ratchet and Clank guy, but you've played some other games. Like, a lot of games kind of have a narrator that are guiding you through some type of comm system, right? And she is that voice for 90% of those games for Batman. And I think because of those games, I have a bigger appreciation for the character. And I'm not surprised that she's more popular as Oracle, because I actually like that. Now, it's fucked up the way she got there, the whole Killing Joke, which is a great comic.
Right.
But I actually like the Oracle version of her character better than any of the others.
Nice. But I even though Ratchet and Clank is the only game that I play, I do watch other movies where they have
True.
Oracle-like characters. And speaking of that, remember the British comic book dudes that sent us the first issue of their comic?
Oh yeah, Extra Man.
Yeah, and I guess somebody was in it was kind of an Oracle.
The wife,
maybe the son.
Yeah. Oh, the AI. Yeah.
Yeah, the AI.
Yep.
So that got me thinking. We heard from them again?
We've not heard from them, but we follow each other on TikTok, and I see they've been putting out. I want to say the second issue was released. So no, maybe we'll have to reach out, dude, and get another copy of there. But because I enjoyed it. It was a nice little. So yeah, if you've not checked them out, Extra Man. But yeah, I know them I follow them on TikTok, and yeah, they're definitely. Dude, they're working, dude. They're like us, dude. They're just out there working, grinding, you know?
Okay. I mean, between them and Chris, man, I mean, obviously it takes a lot to get these comic books out.
Yeah,
especially if you're an independent artist and the writer and the art of the colorist and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah, so again, kudos to them for doing that, for Extra Man and Chris doing what he's doing.
Absolutely.
But, so it takes some work.
It does, dude. It does, no doubt. It also takes some work, Adrian. We respond. It takes some work because I got to sift through some comments and I got to find some good ones and some ones that aren't so good. And but that's a nice little segue to let you guys know what's coming next. We respond. This is where I handpick a handful of comments on YouTube or TikTok that y'all have left on past videos over the course of the last week. And we'll give you our response. Some of them start a conversation. Some of them get a little jab, whatever happens, Adrian.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, I can't be held responsible for what happens next. Okay. The views of the people on screen in this segment do not reflect the views of the podcast.
There you go.
All right, so we got my man BGJ197502. He's got a nice little Deadpool picture as his profile. Says, started watching you guys on TikTok, and to reiterate, in my opinion, the best comic book related podcast around. Keep up the amazing work. Chaps. Wow, it was referred to us as chaps. Maybe it's from overseas. But I agree with everything he said, Adrian. I had no lies there, right?
Absolutely.
Son of Jack, 5150. Not so much. He says, recast T'Challa. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you at all. And I double down on this. And, but one thing I want an answer for, Adrian. And maybe, I don't know if you have this answer. You're an insightful person.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Disney had no problem recasting several other actors that have passed? I mean, we just saw it with Thunderbolt Ross, no problem. Why, when it came to Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, they would not recast?
I don't know. Maybe they felt some kind of way about how he died, or the fact that he died, or it can't be because he's black. I mean, that would be kind of ridiculous to me.
Right.
But I don't know.
You know what? Is it though? Like, not because he's black, I don't recast him, but do you think they were afraid that, they would be accused of maybe, you're racist because you recast? You know what I mean? Like, is there, now it would be a nonsensical portion of the fan base. It's kind of like, and this is a white people problem, Adrian. It's like, if I were to say, hey, describe that guy over there, most people would be like, he's got a white beard, he's got a hat, he's got an arm. Or if I had to pick you out of a crowd, they would start with that instead of just going, he's a black dude. Like, we're not saying anything wrong. We're like, you would say he's a white dude, right? Like, if you had to pick me out of a, so maybe that's a stretch, but I'm wondering if any of it was like, we don't know how this is gonna be. Now it could be the way he died, but I'm mind boggled at why this character. And no, I don't. That's not my opinion. I'm just throwing that out there as a playing devil's advocate. Could that be a possibility? But it's just strange that other characters, no problem. There's been actors that are a pain in the ass on set. They got rid of them, recasted. So I don't know. I guess we'll never know, Adrian.
Yeah, but the thing about it, and the funny part about it is I mean, and not that I think that Boseman's family should have any say whatsoever in whether or not he get recast, but they said recast.
Yeah, his brother did. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So I don't get it, and it's a travesty because But then again, with the black thing, he was the richest character in the MCU, period.
Right.
He had the most resources. And so, in order, to not have that bubble up to the top, they had to get rid of him, get rid of Wakanda,
Right.
just drive this whole thing into the ground,
Okay. So as I was maybe,
It's a
hypothesizing.
conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. My conspiracy was they didn't recast him because he's black, but you're saying like that's why they didn't recast him, because they wanted to, not have the richest man in the MCU be a Wakandan prince, is what you're getting at.
Hey, it's possible.
It is possible. Who knows?
Because they're not saying anything.
Right.
We have our own opinions.
Correct.
And it might change tomorrow.
Exactly. So anyway, all right, next up, Blaster 4208 says, it's 42008. So I don't know. Blaster. He's a blaster. He blasted us with this opinion here. Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jean-Claude Van Damme for Dr. Doom. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God, dude. Both of those are ridiculous. Either one of those is ridiculous.
Dude.
I mean, that's as ridiculous as Arnold Schwarzenegger being Mr. Freeze. Come on.
Dude, if that's the case, then recast me as T'Challa. Arnold or John. No, I don't even get where he's going. Next, Shows Baba says they should have let us seen Snyder's trilogy. No. I'm so glad, dude, because there was believe it or not, there was a trilogy planned of these movies, and we saw Batman vs Superman, we saw Justice League. No, I'm sorry, there was a Justice League trilogy planned, and we only seen the one, but we've seen it 3 different times. So I think we saw the trilogy. You saw the matter of fact, dude. What are you talking about? You saw the original Justice League, you saw the Snyder cut, and then you saw the black and white Snyder cut.
There you go.
3's a trilogy, right? Anyways. A guy who gets it. My man God Mode's back, Adrian. So
Nice.
You get some fans that don't get it, like Shows Baba, and then you get some that do, like God Mode, okay? So he talked about, I think he's talking about Cape Crusader here. He says, so far not a fan of the voice acting and costume choices. Some of the costume choices are, as the kids used to say a few years ago, a little sus. And the voice acting, there were some that were misses. I really liked Catwoman. I didn't like Harvey Dent at all. Batman was okay. Alfred was a little strange. So I mean, it was kind of all over the place with Cape Crusader. Sure. But he has a hypothetical. Who's winning this team up? So he's got 3 groups here. So we'll go one by one. Homelander and Darkseid versus Omni-Man and Apocalypse. I'll go with Omni and Apocalypse.
Homelander, Darkseid, Omni-Man, and Apocalypse. I'm gonna go with Omni-Man and Apocalypse.
Okay. And then he's got Injustice, Superman, and Thanos. So those 2 versus Omni-Man and I think they wipe out everyone. Injustice, Superman, and Thanos. That Injustice is the Superman that kills, the one you've talked about before. That,
right?
And then Thanos. What do you think?
Well, because I'm thinking about Omni-Man, right?
Yeah.
And Omni-Man is basically Superman without the okay. So Injustice, Superman.
Okay, so they wipe out both groups.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wipe out everybody.
See, we solved debates. See, we're helping my man God Mode out with answering his questions. And yes, Injustice, Superman, and Thanos, they kick out everyone's ass in there. As much as
you know what's going to be the next matchup though, right? You know it's going to be somebody off the X-Men.
Oh yeah. Well, we already know the X-Men would destroy the Justice League. And when we get to agree to disagree, I'm going to show you all a little clip of a lot of the Terrificon guests that agreed. So.
There you go.
Next up, oh boy, here we go. Talk about comment attorneys, Adrian. Gamer Madness 666. He says, Jonathan Majors deserves nothing. He messed up, and he has to feel the consequences. These people need to understand consequences. Okay, so that's what he said. If you can interpret that.
Okay.
Dude. First of all, it's kind of like you talk about the highway enforcers, right? Like, dude, it's not it's not the cops' highway, but at least they have the authority to but you're just a regular driver. Get out of my way. Don't try to tell me how fast or slow I should go.
Right.
Who are you to say what he needs to understand, and what consequences are you talking about? My man got charged.
Yep.
He did everything under, that's required of him through the justice system, right?
Yep.
He showed up to court. He had an attorney. He got his sentencing. He's sentenced to go to some domestic violence courses over the course of a year. I think it's 50, sessions or whatnot. To me, that is his consequence, right? Whether you agree with what he did or not, you got to show up to court and face your, accuser. And this is what the judge decided. I could disagree with it. You could disagree with it, which we've, shared our feelings of that plenty of times. But would you not say, based off of how we operate here in this country, he accepted his consequences? I feel like he did.
Sure. I mean, and again, that for him to get like anger management, dude. I mean,
right. Even though she's chasing him,
right? That's community service
for real.
Then on top of that, see, and I don't want to get into the other part of comics, but if like you got somebody like an Ezra Miller going around kidnapping people, right, slapping people, and then he gets a movie.
Correct. He gets rewarded.
But then you get basically a misdemeanor. When you get anger management, that's like a misdemeanor. We got to do something to you, so
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't assault, or was it assault? So it wasn't any of these violent type of things, which is what everybody was trying to make it out to be.
Right.
So he got sentenced. He got his punishment.
Yeah.
Let the man go back and feed his family.
Correct.
Whoever that may be.
Right. Yeah, no, I think he learned his lesson. I think he learned that when the chicks chase, like, just get away from her because she's crazy. I think he's got to learn. Dude, relax. Anyway, moving on. Kai and 6368. Why do we as adults ask, who asked for that? Disney is for kids. LOL. He thinks it's funny. LOL. Now, I don't know about you, dude. When you went to see Deadpool Wolverine, I mean, I was there with you. Did you see a lot of these so-called kids in the movie theater? I didn't.
No.
I think the only kids were the ones that I brought the second time.
Right.
Like, dude, so, I know what he's getting at. Oh, who asked for that? Well, I don't think the kid. Dude, I don't know about you.
The Little Mermaid and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it's like, it's another one of those people that cannot transition out of an old way of thinking. I mean, it is what it is. Either you accept that Disney is making comic book movies and that the movies have to be representative of what the comic books are, rated R, right? Or just crawl into a closet somewhere with your VH tapes of The Little Mermaid so that you can stay to the authenticity of Disney.
Correct. And we were talking about, I think, the Lion King movie. Dude, I saw the live action Lion King in the theater. Oh, there were some kids, but there's predominantly adults. Like, so, I don't know about you, dude, but my kids don't have jobs, so I got to bring them to the movie theater. So they're making movies, for the kids, but also for the adults. It's a two-package deal here.
Yeah, but what the other thing that people don't seem to realize is that the things that made Disney is our generation.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? The Lion King wasn't made in this generation.
No, our kids don't care about the Lion King.
Back in 30 years ago.
Right.
So that's why the adults are in the movie watching the Lion King.
Yep.
You don't see no 6-year-old, I want to go to see the Lion. No, it doesn't work that way.
Nope. So, no. Who's asking? Yeah, I'm going to continue to ask that because we have established that the MCU and a lot of these, especially the comic book stuff, is geared towards adults. Yep. Official BSON, he's official, says, the way this duo speaks on everything is just straight realness in all caps. Way to go. Keep going, fellas. Well, we're going to keep going. And I agree with my man, official BSON here, that all we do, Adrian, is speak straight realness. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
So you get some that get it and some that don't. So moving on, our last segment, we're going to wrap this thing up with a little agree to disagree. Before we do that, I'm going to show you, Adrian, that I also, in this same event, this Terrificon, I did agree to disagree. I took some of our hits. Like when an artist has been, they have these legacy concert guys been around. Nas does them. They've been around for decades. They have all this massive catalog, and they do their hits. Right? They just go through.
Right.
So I did our hits, Adrian. I held it down. while you were traveling. So I pulled out some of our favorite agree to disagrees, like the X-Men would destroy the Justice League, the Batman's better than the Snyder cut, the Eternals could cure insomnia. I threw these out to a handful of comic Terrificon guests, and I want y'all to take a look at how they felt about these very same statements.
Don't talk about the nipples.
Good, yeah. The less we say about the nipples, the better.
The X-Men would destroy the Justice League.
I think if you take into account all of them, yeah, most likely.
Do you agree?
Indeed.
With prep time, no, they wouldn't.
Fact.
That's a fact. All right.
Ooh. Disagree.
Disagree.
Disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree.
All right.
Yeah, actually, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You're Deadpool. Deadpool and Wolverine is the best of the Deadpool movies.
Disagree.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'll give it that. Of course it is. Look at all the cameos.
Right? I didn't see you in it, though. What's up with that?
Well, you know, I got to surprise people once in a while.
The next one.
Yeah.
Agree.
Agree?
Yeah, agree.
Disagree.
All right, there's always one. The Captain America trilogy was better than the Iron Man and Thor trilogy.
No.
No? Which one was the best?
I like Iron Man.
Okay.
Even though the Christmas movie was a little rough.
Yeah, that was my next one. Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
You agree?
Just like Gremlins, you know?
Right. What about Batman Returns? Christmas movie?
Yeah.
I mean, she dies on a Christmas tree. You don't get much more Christmas than that.
You don't.
Right.
That's what the holidays are all about, really.
Absolutely.
Oh, agree.
Across the Spider-Verse is better than Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that it was a cliffhanger that I didn't expect.
Okay. So you're going
No.
Disagree.
I think that's true. I agree.
Okay.
Disagree.
I don't know that one.
Easily agree.
All right, my man. Watching the Eternals could cure insomnia.
Yes.
Have you guys seen the Eternals? Okay, I'm sorry about that. Watching the Eternals could cure insomnia.
Agree.
Facts.
Right? Like, have you ever tried to watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to. I just can't get through it.
I have to disagree. I actually loved it. I loved it.
Really?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Are you sure you're Deadpool? Have you ever seen the Eternals?
No, I'm not.
That's a good thing. Yeah, don't watch it. Robert Downey Jr. is perfect for Doctor Doom.
No.
I'm looking forward to it.
Very much disagree.
Okay.
No.
Disagree.
Marvel should have recasted T'Challa.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Nah.
Okay. Thor Ragnarok is the best Thor movie.
100%. Is that even a question?
No, it shouldn't be, right?
That should never be a question.
No.
I love that movie.
Right? Who
I
doesn't?
love that movie.
Who doesn't?
The Screaming Goats? Are you kidding?
Oh, no, that's Love and Thunder.
Oh, I love
yeah.
it all.
Okay.
All right.
Infinity War is the best Avengers movie.
Disagree.
You know, I'm not buying anything from this booth.
Yeah, that was pretty top notch.
Yeah. What are you dressed up as again?
So I'm dressed up as Buggy from One Piece.
Okay. Buggy would solo the Justice League.
No.
Okay.
He could do well against anyone that has like blades,
Yeah.
like Batman, just go right through.
Wow.
So, but Superman, no.
All he has to do is yell Martha. Yeah, that's the last one. The Martha moment is the dumbest on-screen comic book movie moment in history.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can't find one dumber than that. No.
Yeah, definitely. It's right up there with the nipples.
It is right up there with the nipples. I thought you said we were going to talk about the nipples.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm like, geez.
Like, if we were fighting and I yelled Martha, you wouldn't stop, would you?
No. I'm like, you know what? Like,
Right.
yes.
I got another one for you. Batman would kick the shit out of Superman.
Oh, definitely.
All day, right? All right, dude. So as you see, a lot of them agreed with us, Adrian. Some of them didn't, you know. And you can even see with some of our participants, we didn't agree. I didn't get upset. Matter of fact, the guy who agreed with most of the shit, I ended up buying stuff from his booth. So it was a fun experience. So that is why I said earlier that we are an educational program. You learn just as much watching us as you do watching Sesame Street or reading Rainbow, okay? So what you're going to learn right here is that it's okay to disagree with someone and not be upset and not say that they're wrong, not say that you're always just – we can agree to disagree, okay? So I'm going to rapid fire a handful of my opinions at you, Adrian. As I always kind of include this disclaimer, some of these I came up with while we were recording this episode. Some of them yesterday, some of them last night, some over the course of the week. So, and I may change my mind next week. All right. That being said, Adrian, you are going to let me know if you agree or disagree with the statement. Are you ready?
I'm ready, and I also agree that you might change your mind before you finish this list.
That has happened before as well. Yes, I agree. All right. Number one, the MCU has not ruined cinema.
I agree.
Deadpool and Wolverine is better than the Joker.
Since I have not seen the Joker, and I will not see the Joker, I will by default say yes.
Okay. By default to it. But
Which is unfair, but.
Sure. But this is where I will slide into your spot, okay? So if I ask myself that, I would say I agree. So
there we go.
But you guys let us know. Spider-Man 2 is the best of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films.
I agree.
Terminator 2 is the best Terminator movie.
No, I disagree.
Okay. We need more adult-oriented comic book movies.
I agree, but not necessarily in what you're saying.
Okay.
Because that makes it sound like we need to turn comic book movies into adult, or R-rated. Most comic book movies are comic books are already R-rated. We just need to put them out.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
All right. I got you. Well, I'm saying we need more. The comic book movies need to match the tone of the comics more, which are adult oriented. Okay. See, we could change, right? I could change my statement if it wasn't clear. If I didn't do a good job of communicating. All right. Next, we do not need a Gambit solo movie.
Especially with what's the movie? I can't even.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, I knew you would go there, but I mean in general. Like I thought about what you said last week about this character. Like he is not one that we need. Like we don't need to give him the Han Solo treatment because that ruined Han Solo. I don't need to know his origin. I'd rather him just be who he is and be a badass supporting side character, and he could steal the show like he did in X-Men '97. You could even argue he stole the show in some ways in the cameo fest of Deadpool Wolverine segment. But anyways, next, Andrew Garfield should get a third solo Spider-Man movie.
Disagree.
Oh boy, I won't say nothing. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was better than Tobey Maguire's.
Disagree.
Tom Holland is the best on-screen Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Agree.
And there you have it. That's agree to disagree. Guys, like this, share this, drop a comment. Let us know if you agree with me, Adrian, you don't, whoever. Want to go back to a couple, and then we'll take this thing home, as they say. Terminator 2, you said, is not the best Terminator movie. So I'm curious, would you fall on the first one? Which one's your favorite?
Yeah, the first one.
Really?
I mean, anything like that, because we're talking about groundbreaking movies.
Yeah.
Here, and I definitely agree with what you said about, without Spider-Man and things like that, I don't think we would have the evolution of the MCU that we have today.
Right.
So Terminator was a groundbreaking movie. The Matrix was a groundbreaking movie. So Iron Man 1 was a groundbreaking movie. It's cool that we got into the Avengers and Infinity War and, the Guardians of the Galaxy and all that kind of stuff. But, things like Iron Man 1, the first Spider-Man, Terminator, the first one, those things set everything else. So those things have a special place in my heart, and they supersede whatever action or graphics is going to come later in the other movies.
Yeah, without a doubt, dude. I actually feel that the first two Terminator movies were both groundbreaking in different ways. So, like the first one, and what's cool about them for me is I feel like they're both different genres. Like the first Terminator movie is almost a horror movie. A lot of it's first person, and he's chasing down, just murdering people, and you don't even. But in the beginning, you don't really know, like, what the hell? Why is he just killing all these people? He's a psycho, and then it's almost like a mystery. It's a little more suspenseful. The second Terminator movie is a summer blockbuster. I mean, the scenes, some of the special effects in that were definitely groundbreaking at the time.
Sure.
You know, the whole, you know, the T-1000 thing with the liquid, with the gunshots, the way they would explode. Did a lot of shit that we've never seen before. So I feel like, I mean, kudos to James Cameron for having 2 movies in succession that both really kind of reshaped, you know, cinema, if you will, right?
There you go.
But yeah, I prefer the second one more, but I love the first one too. Like, and those two, I feel like I say this, you know, a lot. My go-to, they are leaps and bounds better than the rest of the term. Like there's no other Terminator movie that comes close to those two for me.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's agree or disagree. That's our feelings or our opinions, and as Adrian says, we reserve the right to change them maybe later next week. But dude, it was fun. Can't wait to have you back in your seat, dude, because right now I'm just dealing with this Magneto helmet here. But so I put this helmet here to, you know, make me feel like I had a co-host in person. But but hey, you know what? Yeah. Well, next week you'll be back in studio, right? Be back live here. But we appreciate all of you guys checking us out. We appreciate all the interactions. Everyone that I saw at Terrificon, thanks for participating. That was fun. Be back next year to do more of that. And you guys know where to find us. Adrian, thanks. I would say thanks for coming out. Thanks for chiming in, I guess.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Yeah, you chimed in. We didn't chime in because you were here the whole time, but you joined us via the internets.
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for...
I mean, I chimed in just like the guy from across the pond called us chaps, right?
Yeah, chaps. I like that. We got called chap. It's better than the other C word they use a lot over there, you know? So
there's that.
Yeah, there's that. So we were called chaps. So I'll even go to the wide shot. Look at that, dude. And I need you back because using this damn, you know, button thing here, I'm not as fast as it with you, dude. That's not... I have not unlocked that mutant ability to the level that you have. So, yeah, so if you...
Hey, I'm technical. You're the all the news and all the information.
Okay.
We got our jobs, dude.
We got it, dude. We got it. So we'll keep it coming. Guys, thanks for checking us out. If you've not already, hit the subscribe button, like this, share this with your friends. Go to onlycomicsmerch.com, and we will see you next week on Only Comics.